G2 were crowned London Major champions. It was their 8th straight grand final appearance this year. They've dominated domestically and come close at Copenhagen, but this time round G2 were just impossible to contain. BeastMode proved that he belonged in conversations for world's best player, earning MVP honors for his otherworldly playmaking and shot-making display. His pure mechanics generated some insane moments this major, but there have been other great aerial plays that have required IQ and elite improvisational skills. For example, he's able to make something from nothing with 9 boost here, landing a beautiful pre-flip that induces panic from Chicago, who ends up diving at the ball and making an error in letting it sneak underneath him. He opts to transition into a 50 here because of the backwall support, showing the upper side of his card to neutralize the 50 so he can drop on top of it for an upper 90 finish. He was extremely comfortable using the ceiling. He knows Lost is heading back to the corner for boost here, so he plays it quick to the ceiling to get above it and make use of the space below for another ground double. He lobs it into a dangerous position in this one and paths up the sidewall to collect the return, orienting his card to hit it off the ceiling for an incredible double. He shows some phenomenal control here, beating Yan to the ball initially, but making sure to play it high to the ceiling so he can land another touch on the ball to keep it away from Drafinho, and then connecting with Atomic on the way down to wrap up the play. BeastMode will also use his aerial gifts to find his teammates. He's so comfortable in the air here that he pans his camera mid-flight to search for a teammate below to play a perfect pass to. Here's some more elite control, recovering to the backboard after the save, but then making his way to the ceiling so he can offload it to Daniel on the sidewall. He plays it slow on the wall here, letting the ball roll up to him before bursting out into the middle past LJ, and then using a little arrow on his delivery to Daniel, who's able to convert with a double. He made a similar play against Gen G, coming off the corner to play it into the middle to Atomic, who launched a missile aimed for the top corner to close the series in Game 5 overtime. He didn't fancy going to OT against the Falcons in Game 3 of the Grand Finals, carrying the ball all the way downfield before moving ahead to bump Killers out the way so that Daniel's left with an uncontested shot behind. He starts this play with a touch to the ceiling and is able to land the reset as the ball falls back to him so he can flip ahead to search out First Killer. However, BeastMode finds most of his bumps and demos on his rotations back because he loves to rotate back ball side into the action. For instance, instead of tracking wide here to the opposite side of the pitch, he paths back close to the play, which opens up the opportunity to bump Jack. He's at a junction here as he zap dashes out the goal and opts to rotate out where the action is, which means he's able to land the bump on LJ. Again, he's rotating out of goal and could go wide into space and collect boost, but chooses to pounce from behind with a couple wave dashes to take out Killers. His high level awareness makes landing a bump on him exceptionally hard. He doesn't forget about Chicago looping around here, and he makes use of his camera as the last man in this one, crucially panning left to time a double jump to keep himself alive. He's able to sniff out even the slyest of bump attempts. TRK creeps up from his blind spot here, but BeastMode's too alert, eluding the bump and repositioning inside of his goal. He pulled off an incredible save against Furia. Drafinho shoots this one where Lost parts for the bump, but BeastMode's able to evade it, leaping over the bump and then immediately angling his car down to make the stop. This roster is filled with immensely talented individuals. All 3 of them are capable of taking multiple players out of the game at any given moment, but as a team they've worked together to generate great offensive pressure, to break down defenses and create high percentage goal scoring opportunities. To be able to sustain pressure and break down defenses, a great offense will always have an off-ball presence, and G2 look to impact the game off the ball on their rotations out. For instance, after his shot on goal, BeastMode has enough boost to scout for bumps, connecting on 2 here as he leaves the play. He doesn't quite execute initially in this one, but swerves left instantly on landing to clear LJ out the net. Boost starving is also imperative to sustaining pressure. BeastMode collects both corners here, turning inside after this one spawns on him, and again searching for bumps as he navigates across goal to snatch the opposite corner. Being mindful of where you put the ball in the offensive half is also important, and present in G2's gameplay when you look at their challenges. For example, after taking it under Drafinho here, BeastMode positions his car so that the ball gets directed backwards towards Daniel and away from Lost, who's the next man up for Furia. Cuts in rotation are key too. BeastMode shows great situational awareness here after he sees Atomic step into the frame, circling back round because he doesn't want to concede space, but also to challenge for Daniel behind, because he knows that Daniel doesn't want to commit to a ball in the corner as the last man. And G2 generally look to concede as little space as possible to their opponents. BeastMode's up early to smother Chronic here, and he does the same thing to LJ in this next play, pre-jumping him and allowing SSG no room to breathe. If there's a breakdown in rotation or a slight positional error, they have the mechanical ability to recover from it. With Daniel rotating all the way back for boost here, BeastMode turns up the wall to rescue the play and keep them on the attack when most teams would have relinquished pressure. He throws a nice fake here but gets bumped off the wall, yet he still manages to recover and block Chicago's clear, again allowing them to maintain that hold. When it all comes together, this G2 side becomes incredibly overwhelming to play against. They had a great off-ball presence throughout the tournament, ranking only behind Team Secret in both boosts stolen and demos inflicted. And it's this off-ball activity that keeps opposing teams pinned down. The constant bumps and boost staves open up space for G2 to operate, but also disrupt rotations and reduce the likelihood of defenses landing big clears or carrying the ball out to relieve pressure. They've worked really well together to concede as little space as possible, always looking to cut and challenge for each other whenever they can. And all of this combined with the pace and mechanical consistency they play with make it extremely difficult to defend against them. There's also a great synergy amongst this trio. BeastMode pre-jumps Atomic's pass off the corner perfectly here to put a shot on target, but they're also able to find each other really well with passes upfield, with BeastMode usually the recipient. Daniel snipes him going up the back wall here before moving into the middle to receive the return. BeastMode almost nails the top corner in this one, again moving up the wall in anticipation of a pass that Daniel delivers beautifully into his path. BeastMode's playing with a level of freedom that we just don't often see. For example, who turns up the opposing team's backwall like he does here and look for a redirect towards goal against Furia in a major semi-final. He cuts off a pass to play his own back to Atomic, but instead of grabbing the boost and getting out the way, he takes over and pushes the ball all the way to the opposite side of the field, avoiding a whole interaction in the corner by doing so. The composure BeastMode's playing with is incomparable to anyone. He's so assured on the ball, and it stems from the trust he has in his teammates. It's apparent when you observe his pathing. You'll often see him go deep for boost while his team's on defense, because he has faith in both Atomic and Daniel to hold out until he's back. They can be on the attack too, and he'll linger forward instead of rotating out. He lurks upfield here on zero boost because again he trusts that his teammates behind have everything under control, which they almost always do. He beats LJ to the mid here but continues pushing forward, starving him but also making himself an option for his teammates. And that's what this level of belief in each other frequently leads to, BeastMode being an outlet for his teammates downfield. BeastMode is oozing with confidence right now. And this is a complete turnaround to what we saw from him last year. He's free to fully express himself on the field, playing alongside his new teammates Atomic and Daniel. G2's defining characteristic all season has been their consistency. They rarely ever put a foot wrong whilst playing at such a high pace, and paired with their off-ball activity, they've just been able to dominate teams. BeastMode's mechanical gifts in tandem with his off-the-charts IQ have made him one of the biggest defensive threats in the RLCS. And those are the reasons why G2 hoisted the major trophy and why BeastMode was hailed as your London Major MVP.